I know you've been living in the States for many years. Have you talked with your families and friends why this is like this kind of a hatred? Because obviously there are some stereotypes of Asians, but crimes and horrifying attacks against Asians, is it because of COVID?
I honestly, I think for me, as someone who was born and raised here, right, in essence, I have a lot of my own personal experiences being Asian American, experiencing discrimination in a micro level, in a very overt. Thank goodness I myself have never been attacked, but I know people that have been attacked physically.
Hmm.
Um, I think, is it something that's new? Not at all. It's something that existed
Okay.
before I was born, before, a long time ago. I mean, if we look at the history, the unfortunate reality is that even for myself, it's not something that was taught to me in school. It wasn't until I'm older now that I learned of things such as the Chinese Exclusion Act in the 19th century.
Yeah.
So it's not even that far back. It's actually recent in the scope of time where, yeah, there was a period of time where the sentiment in the country is we don't want you here, and we're literally going to use legal action to prevent you from coming here. And a lot of general public do not even know about these histories. And then if we go to a time that is even more recent than the Chinese Exclusion Act, something that's more violent and something that's more deadly. I think the case of Vincent Chin, a lot of people didn't even know this name. I didn't learn of this name till I became older. It wasn't taught to me in school. And this is a landmark case, unfortunately, in that it was a violent murder of a Chinese American young man. He was about to be married, and he basically was killed by, in this case, two white men, and they attacked him with a bat and killed him. And I think the center point of all of this is that, as much as was presented that this was a crime driven by race and by hate, it was never acknowledged as that. And this was in 1982, the year that I was born.
Yeah.
So I think even that story is something that only recently, in the recent weeks and months, more people are learning about, because there is a sense of like, no, Asians are not being discriminated. They never have been. And then that's when these things have to be reminded and brought up to people. Even if you look at the history of some of the first Chinese immigrants to the US that were essentially slaves and workers that were building the railroads, I think that something as simple as that, I think is not something that the general
Yeah.
public know, or if they do know, they don't know the scope of it. So